Hey y'all, welcome to the Healing Space Live and Online Chats with Roxanne and Rhonda, the podcast where guests will share information and research on self-love, living a wellness-filled life, how to heal from traumatic events, and more. This podcast is sponsored by Healing Hearts and Minds Publishing, LLC, a new company that publishes books that promote self-love, healthy relationships, avoidance of unhealthy relationships, and much, much more. Check out their first publication, Unhealthy Relationships, Let's Stop the Madness, a guide for those in unhealthy relationships and for those who want to help them. Written by first-time author and co-host of the Healing Space Live and Online, Roxanne Elizabeth Epperson. Visit Amazon.com to purchase the paperback or ebook. Enjoy the show. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Healing Space Live and Online Chats with Roxanne and Rhonda. And we really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to hang out with us. In Pittsburgh, it's 80-something degrees, so I know a lot of people could be outside in the pool or whatever. So I appreciate you spending your time with us this next 45 minutes or so. And we hope that you would tell a friend, a family member, a coworker, whomever about our podcast. And if this is your first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. And we hope you will listen to previous episodes now the easiest way is to go to my website, WAAR Heals, HEALS at warheals.org. I'm sorry, but I'll repeat this again at the end. But that's the easiest way to find our episodes because there's a link in there. But we're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, and about Audible and about 16 other platforms. So you can find us almost anywhere. And we also record these videos, so you can check us out on YouTube as well. And I'll talk more about that at the end. So we wanted to remind everybody that the focus of our show centers around self-love, self-care, self-esteem, healing from abusive or traumatic relationships, and building healthy relationships because there is such a thing. Although some people don't believe it, there is such a thing as a healthy relationship. So we really encourage that. Now, today's relationship topic is special because, as you know, Father's Day is approaching. So we wanted to talk to some dads about their relationships with their daughters. So that's our focus for today. And we have 4 dads here with us with daughters of varying ages. And Rhonda's going to introduce our first guest, and I'll introduce some as well.
Thank you, Roxanne. Hi, everybody. Really glad that you all can join us. As Roxanne said, if this is your first time, welcome. But we also want to say a shout out to all of our regular followers. We really appreciate that you listen to us on a regular basis. So thank you, and just keep it up because we are trying to increase the number of people who listen to our podcast and watch us on YouTube. So when you watch us on YouTube, please make sure you hit like. So our guests today are Brian Smith, Kenny Winston, Gregory Tolliver, and Kenny Struther. And we recognize that our guests also have sons and grandsons. However, today's focus is on the father-daughter relationship. We love our sons, our nephews, our godsons, our men, and today is just a special focus for fathers and daughters. So, by way of introduction, Brian Smith is a widower and therefore a single father of 3 children, 2 daughters, ages 17 and 13, an 11-year-old son, and 1 grown married daughter, and who also has 2 children, so he is a grandfather of 2. He is a very active and involved dad. Professionally, Brian has a master's in public administration with a plethora of nonprofit experience, currently residing in Houston, Texas, and ready to relocate to Pittsburgh. Hey, just going to say, if you're listening and you have any insights about jobs, let us know. He's going to give you his email at the very end of the show. So have something ready to write that down. Any information is welcome. Our next guest that I'm going to introduce is Kenny Winston. Kenny graduated from Kent State University with a degree in computer science. He is currently the CEO and president of Anytime, Anyplace Fitness. He is the father of 2 daughters, 1 son, and 2 grandchildren. He resides in Cleveland, Ohio. But don't get it twisted, he is a Steelers fan. And he lives with his beautiful wife, Monique. Thank you. And Roxanne will introduce our next 2 guests.
Okay, so we have Kenneth Struther. He works as a family development specialist, helping families stay intact and develop healthy parenting skills. So needed. He is the proud father of 4, including 1 set of twin daughters and 2 sons. Kenny also has 3 grandchildren. He's an entrepreneur. He's a caterer, and he has merch that we can purchase, y'all. So, and our next guest is Gregory Tolliver, who's a retired Local 5 electrician. He attended the University of Dayton. Gregory also has twin daughters. Isn't that interesting? And they are 28 years old. He has 1 son, age 16, and he has 1 son who's deceased, who's in a better place than us. So he also has 1 precious 3-year-old granddaughter who he babysits. I just love it. They have their little special days, and he took her to get her hair done today. So I just love it. And I just have to say, I've had the pleasure of knowing Gregory for 49 years. Can you believe that? I've known you for 49 years. Amazing. I had to take. I'm just baffled by that. But anyway, that's a long time. But anyway, so we're going to get started now. And we're going to ask each of you the same question, the first question, which is, and then after that, we'll randomly select you guys to answer. And that doesn't mean you can't give your feedback on one of the questions that somebody else answers. But anyway, that's how we're going to do it. We would like each of you to give us a brief overview of your parenting style, especially with your girls. And how do you encourage healthy relationships with your daughters and still maintain parental boundaries? And does anybody want to go first, or do I have to call on somebody? Kenneth Struther, you grinning too hard. You go first.
Yeah, now, if you could just repeat back the first question for me, I apologize.
No problem. I can repeat them all the time. Can you give us a brief overview of your parenting style, specifically with your daughters? I don't know if you have sons, but specifically with your daughters.
Yeah, I have 2 boys and 2 girls. I have twin daughters that are 20 years old currently. And my parenting style has always been trying to have a close relationship and just be open and honest and transparent. Prayerfully, that will be received by them. And it's been working, for my oldest son is 30. So for 30 years, my parenting style has been the same. When I first met the man that I call my father and his family, when I was 10 years old, the Flemings are a communication, open and shared type of family. The family that I come from the Struther side of the family, was secretive and kept everything behind closed doors. So I learned a different type of stuff when I met my father. And during that process, I think it just helped and encouraged me to just be open and try to be transparent, not their friends, but to encourage them to just share, some of their feelings. All children are not going to be totally, completely honest. But at least the door is open so we can start the process of trying to understand.
I appreciate that open communication statement. How about let's go with the other Kenny?
Hey, thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, you're welcome.
So my parenting style is kind of more not lax, more in between strict but fair. I always want to be fair with my kids. The biggest thing, I always wanted to be a role model anyway. So I can't ask them to do anything that they are seeing. So I always went, whatever they're seeing, I want to make sure that I'm a role model to my kids. So that's my parenting style is what you see is what you get. And so when I'm able to sit down with them, I'm always able to have an honest conversation about life and what's going on with life and just having being able to talk to my kid, having communication. I want to hear what they have to say and what they think, where they're coming from, and help them with their thinking and their process. So that's type of parenting style I use.
Gregory?
Myself, it's kind of really hard to put a finger on exactly my parenting style with my daughters. But I've always tried to be open in conversation with them, honest in what I do. And for the most part, mine was almost like lead by example than by word. I learned that earlier at one point, that I can say a lot of things to my kids, but if I'm not walking what I'm talking, they're not paying attention. And at an early age, I divorced and separated from my wife, so it was hard for me to communicate with my daughters on a consistent basis. But part of that was them. They were somewhat quiet and reclusive in terms of other people. So they stuck to me like gloves most of the time in the public, and they would always look at people when I introduced them. But I've always tried to inject things that I think they needed at any given time when they was growing up. And for example, being a father trying to teach a girl how to be a woman that was a challenge, especially when it got to that rite of passage. And since I couldn't do much, I had a female friend to help me with that in one instance. And I directed them to other females if I couldn't do anything that would help them. Talk to this female, talk to that female, talk to your parents, talk to your aunts, whatever. So it was sort of hands-on, but it was when the question was posed, I'm like, wow, who am I in terms of that parenting style? But I try to be open and honest with them.
That's important. Critical.
I never wanted to put my hands on my children at all because I felt like as a kid, I was getting my behind whooped all the time. So I was refraining from putting my hands even on my son, but that was a mistake. But anyway, we're talking about the girls.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic, huh?
Right. So
Okay.
I've never put my hands on my ladies, my girls at all. I might be stern with words, but never put hands on them.
I appreciate that. Brian?
Yes, I think I would say a few words is just that I think I'm versatile. I think I'm fair, but I'm not equal. And I had to learn how to adapt. Now, versatile and adapt might be the same thing. When I came into fatherhood, I just thought I was going to be the jolly, funny father that was always there to care for my kids and help drive for vacations and give them money and protect them and provide for them. And that's it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, my wife passed, and all the little ancillary things in the middle, things that I didn't think I had to deal with, I do have to deal with. So I think you have to be, another word would be bilingual. I think you have to be able to understand each child, because each child is different, and each way I communicate with my children is different. That's what I mean by equal, not equal, but fair. I try to be fair to them both, but I'm not, everybody get treated the same. Some people are treated differently. My son has no filter. My middle daughter has a filter. And my oldest daughter in the house, sometimes don't even talk at all. So it's like, so there's different ways I have to interpret and different ways I have to communicate with them. Some understand my language when I go to a high tone. Some understand my language when I go to a low tone. And some understand my language when I don't say anything. I just look at them. So there's different ways I have to work and talk with my children. A lot of it is lead by example. I try to, talk what I walk, but sometimes I fail and sometimes I fall. I think it's very important as a father to tell your kids sorry when you do something wrong. I didn't do that at first. I was like, just do what I say and that's it. That's it. And that doesn't help them. That hurts them because that gets them a callous part, I think, where they do the same thing in other ways. And I don't want them to do that. I want them to be able to say sorry and change and make it better at that point. So I do a lot of different things. I don't know if I have the great mix, but I try to talk to them at their level, communicate to them where they understand. And also I'm willing to say sorry when I fail. So that's my parenting in a nutshell.
Great. Thank you, guys. So, Rhonda?
Yeah, I've heard some beautiful things on that response. Thank you. I heard all four of you say that communication is very important and role modeling is very important. So thank you all. I really appreciate that. So at different stages as parents, we worry about or are concerned about our children for different reasons. So for instance, when they're 1 year old, we're worried that they may fall and get hurt. You know, when they're 5 years old, they're going off to kindergarten and so forth and so on, that we have different worries or concerns. What are some concerns that or worries that you have about your daughters? And I'm going to throw that question out to Brian, and I'm going to throw that question out to Kenny W. What are some worries or concerns that you have about your daughters? Let's start with Brian. Since you just finished, we'll give it back to you.
Okay. Sometimes I worry about my daughters that I think their fear of failure may stifle their growth as far as not even trying to attempt. And I think sometimes I have to watch myself because I put so much stress on getting things right and doing the right thing that they may be fearful of making mistakes. So I have to watch myself and striving so much that you got to do it right. You got to do it this way, this, that, and the other, but giving them the opportunity to fail, because I think there's growth in failure. You see the way you did wrong. And I want to start teaching them how to fail forward, how to fall forward. You know, a lot of great leaders, a lot of great entrepreneurs fail forward. And, you know, they may have messed up, but when they got up, they knew more. They were in a different place and they knew how to move on. So I think that's one thing I would like to. I'm not sure if I answered your question, but
That was perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Kenny W., some concerns or worries you have about your daughters?
So I interpreted the question as far as like my daughters like being in a relationship. So the biggest thing is them having an ugly boyfriend or bringing out a guy who's not too attractive. That scares me. I'm really scared. I don't want ugly grandkids. I just you know.
I knew that's where he was going.
I'm just kidding. I joke a lot. So, so my concern is like always that first broken heart. And where do you go from there? Because that first broken heart is never forgot. And so you gotta be. I want to be here. I want to have that shoulder. And you know what's going to happen because nobody has a perfect. And so always been a concern with my oldest daughter and my youngest daughter was like that first breakup and how they're going to react. Because it tells a lot about when a person starts doing things that they normally don't do. And we quote unquote call it, yo, they're acting crazy or they're doing this or that, but they just haven't went through that or having that feeling. And so you got to be there to be able to say, listen, you're not the only one that ever went through a breakup. But that first breakup is always that biggest concern for me.
Yeah. Kenny, thank you so much for steering it toward intimate relationships. Because Gregory and Kenny S., that's what I'm going to ask you all about. So thank you for taking it that way. And I got to tell you, I feel you on that first breakup thing because I went through it with my daughter. And not the first one, but the first heartbreak one.
Right.
It was rough. It was rough. So let me just go into Gregory and Kenny. And I'm going to ask the two of you, what messages do you or will you give your daughters regarding intimate relationships, intimate dating relationships?
Let me say this about that, but also in correlation to what was just asked. The biggest problem I had with my daughters coming up was I wasn't around them a lot because of separation. And I always gave them what I thought they needed when in their presence. Now, we talk about a breakup. My daughter had a young man that she was going through, she just lost it. She was so caught up with him, she wasn't eating, drinking. I said, hold up, you're too young. I told her, he's not on your level. Not because he's not capable of it, but I looked at the situation like, you have two parents that's helping you to attain higher levels than they may have achieved themselves. So he's stuck in a ceiling because of how his parents were raising him. Don't you do that. there's too many fish in the sea at this point for your young age to be caught up with that. But woe and behold, she did catch a hold of some guy who right now I am not happy with.
Okay.
And it really bothers me because I challenge myself, where did I fail at? And some of it is I miss things because of the lack of presence every day. And at this point, because of her situation now, she has a baby with this guy, but 5 baby moms, 8, 7 kids. I'm trying to wonder why. But I've learned not to push her away from that would make her come closer to it. So I have to refrain from saying certain things to her because she's very sensitive. My other daughter, she's like a bottle of good liquor. Straight, no chaser. Whatever comes out of her mouth, if you don't get it, that's your problem. She's very open like that. And I can talk to her about things openly because of that. The other one I got to be sensitive to. Just like the other gentleman was saying, each kid has different needs and you can't treat them all equal. I've learned that with my twins, even though they're the same in looks, there are 2 different personalities. I call my one daughter a willow tree. She's the one without the daughter or without the baby. If she runs into something, just like a willow tree bends and sways, then when she's come back, she's still a willow and she's even stronger. The other one, she a oak tree. The wind come along, a storm come along, branches be breaking off, she fall apart, she die. So I have to be very sensitive to her about how I communicate with her, and sometimes I just can't. She will shut me off, but I have to be patient, and I have to more or less step back and let her fall on her own face and let her know I'm here. I've told her plenty of times, I was here before him. I will be here forever and a day if I can. But no matter what, I'm here. If you need me, I'm here. I'm
I
here.
think that's a real good message, Gregory, to a daughter that, you may be the oak tree and some branches fall off, but no matter what, I got your roots. I'm your dad. I got your roots, even if branches do fall off. Thank you, Gregory. I think it was Kenny S. we were going to next with that.
Yeah, can you, that was, just repeat the question for me.
I sure can. Yeah. The question was, what messages do you give your daughters around dating and intimate relationships?
Well, I'm kind of like Kenny. My piece was, my biggest fear was, and this might not be politically correct, but I don't want my daughters to be on no pool. Like that was my biggest fear. I was like, I don't want my daughters to be on no pool, and I didn't want to fail them as a father. Not to be able, and what I mean by that is not to be able to provide for them. We have a good structured family, and I have good support system. But to have your own children, you want to be able to provide for them and look out for them. And that was the biggest thing that was my fear. And the message that I try to bring to my daughters all the time is that they're young. They're 20 years old. They'll fall in love multiple times. And getting their heart broken is a fear. But my daughters, they have shied away or kept their boyfriends away from me because they felt like I was, too stern, too strict on them. And so what I did is I laid out a plan with my daughters, and I have them do interviews. Because then they're asking questions, just because they like a guy because he has tattoos or braids in his hair and those type of things. So we actually laid out some interview questions, so you can get to know the person. Some of these young ladies and I work with fathers, facilitate a fathers program through Family Resources, and this is some of the things that we share with our dads, is that when you deal with your daughters, and with me working with moms, is that some of these young ladies have children or have sex or get intimate relationships with these men, don't even know their last names. Yeah. Never even family. And for myself, I'm like, one lady who got pregnant, and she met some guy on social media and didn't know his last name. She just knew his Facebook account name. I share the biggest thing that I think makes me successful in what I do with my families is that I learn.
He froze on us.
We lost the video audio.
He lost everything.
And he's improved the culture.
He learned.
Well, maybe he'll
He
get back
learned.
in there.
Here he
back.
goes.
Am I back on?
Yeah.
He's back.
You
Okay.
left off what you learned.
Yeah, the one thing that I learned is that me being a facilitator, I learned from my fathers and I learned from other parents. You know, there's no one answer that blankets everything. And it's a learning experience. But the interview questions that we sit down is just to try to get to know the person, you know, during conversations. Back when we were kids, we would have phone calls at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, just having conversations. And we're asking about family and friends and where you from. And I call this the microwave generation with these young adults. Everything's so quick. They don't want to work for anything. And in this process with the interview questions that I have, and it's just like, but you should know their friends and families, and if they were in a previous relationship, what happened with that relationship? Why did they break up? But you know, what are some of those issues? You know, social media is a tremendous a support system if you use it properly.
Mhm.
You can know a person through their social media accounts. You know, schools are doing that now, colleges. You know, they want some background, and we're so transparent in social media, we put everything in here. So those are some of the type of things. Try to be transparent and get to know who your friends are, male or female.
Yeah.
Can I just say two things? First, thank you, Kenny, for being here with us. He's on vacation. Are you out of the country?
Yeah, I'm in Dominican Republic.
You know,
New York.
who takes off their vacation to hang with? I truly appreciate you for that.
I'll do anything for Mom Rhonda.
I know. That's right. Yeah. And then the other thing I wanted to know is when you come home, could you please send me those interview questions?
Yes.
And I'll tell you why I want to talk to you about how I want to use them, and we'll talk offline about that.
Sounds good.
But okay.
I have a question, a statement related to what he just said in terms of the interview. I find myself being, you know, that I'm divorced, single somewhat. I don't even call it dating no more. If I'm going out, I tell a lady, you know, yeah, we can go out and do this, that, but I look at it as an interview by asking the questions, by being associated. And I try to tell my daughter the same thing in different ways. But one of the things I've always told them is, you want to know what you're getting into being with another guy, check out his family.
Yeah.
Get involved with his family to a way, we'll see how they interact with each other. And you can get a good idea of how what you may have on your hands in that relationship that he has with them. And I think that speaks volumes in terms of, like the gentleman was saying, it's an interview.
Yeah.
You got to look, see, ask, and question whoever you're dealing with. Because if you don't know nothing about him, you in trouble. What's his last name? Who's his friends? Who's he associated with? You're looking at, without that, you got a one-level sort of perspective on a person. That might
goals.
That just might be physical. You're looking at his face. Oh, he look good. Oh, he this. But where's he at up in his head? Where's his spirit? Where is his heart? These are all part of it. It's just like in terms of the Bible and spirituality, you got a Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Now, to relate to what I'm saying in those three, you got the mind, the body, and spirit. They all work together. And if you're not working in sync with those three things, and you're out of sync, and you can have problems. Like I'm experiencing with my one daughter. And I'm just, okay, I'm still here. I have to wait till you fall, put you back together, but I don't like what's going on. And from my experience on that subject, when he was coming around before the pregnancy, he would only be in our presence 5 or 10 minutes, and then he would get ghosts. And that's been his story ever since. He's never around. So I'm like, he doesn't have the kind of background upbringing that is family related, but yet you want the title of being father to 8 children. Please. You know, I've been a father to a young boy who I didn't even father with my seed. And it was interesting because about 4 or 5 years old of his life, he claimed me as his dad. And I got scared because at the point that was happening, me and the mom were separating. I'm like, I don't know if I want that. But I started accepting the fact that he claimed me, I claimed him, God said it was so, and that's the way we've been doing ever since. So, I mean, it has nothing to do with daughters, but raising children ain't no easy task. You know, you don't get a book to learn from. You have to kind of rough
You
it
are-
out, learn.
You are to be commended for fathering that child. I like that. That's a good thing for
Thank
you
you.
to have done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we can kind of bypass one of the questions we were going to ask because I hear the answer coming from you all and the way that you're describing your relationships. We were going to really talk about how are you a protector to your daughter and is that different from your son? And I think we're kind of hearing that. So we'll just move on from there.
Yeah, so the next one is about there's a statement that says you'll hear many adult men say something about I can't deal with her daddy issues. And so we wanted to know, how are you raising your daughters so that this will not be said about her or them when they're of dating age, or if you had to say that in the past. And but so before we go there, how about let me just say that there's an article written by Julie Keating regarding father and daughter relationships, and she wrote this article to the attention of men who are dating. And these are the two things that it says: daddy's girl.
What,
Everyone.
I'm sorry. Are you asking them to answer that other question or no? This
Oh,
is
you
about
know
the
what?
statements.
Well, it's okay, because I guess I was going to try to.
You can
Okay, go
combine
ahead.
in that?
I'm
Okay.
kind of combining it. They could, I mean, if you want to answer that first and then we'll go into the statements, that's fine. How are you raising your daughter so that this will not be said about her when she's of dating age? I can't deal with her daddy issues. Now, everybody doesn't have to answer it. Only those who feel comfortable could answer it.
I don't know specifically what the answer to that is, but there's another thing I like to tell my daughters and any young female for that matter. Don't be dependent on a man for everything. Just like some of these rap records that are out there, you got your own job, your own car, and that's a big part of it, is to be independent and don't be dependent upon him for financial gains or even for your spiritual, growth. That's all reflected on you and how you go about, because your experience will teach you those things if you're paying attention. So to me, it's sort of like you got to live and learn, but be yourself. Don't look for no man to take care of you.
Me and Rhonda, we're in 100% agreement with that. So, so
I
does
might
anybody?
interject.
Okay, go ahead.
If I might interject, I think you can take that in another way when you say daddy, you have daddy issues. I feel like as a father, you've always taken care of your child and you set the bar so high that whoever this young man who comes in her life, he should feel like, oh, your dad has set the bar so high. Like, and the issue is that you're going to have to grow and they're going to have to help each other, build to be better, or you want to move forward because they've seen. So it's not going to be okay to live in the projects because she didn't live in the projects. It's not going to be okay not to have, to pay your bills because her bills have always been paid. And so when you talk about the issues, I think it's just setting the bar. If your child doesn't have daddy issues, like, ooh, we doing so much better now that I got out of my daddy's house, that you could take that daddy issue thing in a different aspect. So I think it's a good thing if your child or the guy is like, oh, you have daddy issues. Your daddy done gave you everything. Yes, I have. And I always will be there for her. So it's that support. I'm always gonna have support for my kids. And so he needs to know that too.
There's a saying called man law, that us men have. And I give that to my daughters. One thing I didn't want, just what Brother Kenny said, is that I tried to have the bar raised high, where if a young man comes to my daughter and we give her some jewelry or flowers, those type of things, like I was their first love, and my daughters would tell me that. And I wanted to show them a true representation of how a man is supposed to treat a woman. Now I've had some failures, in that, but they were all growing experiences, especially with the relationship with their mother when we were together. And it was volatile at times. It was unhealthy. But in that process, I was always talking to them about the do's and the don'ts and the type of relationship, because it's not all perfect, man. And
Uh-oh.
Yeah, right when we get into it.
That was, I want to hear what he was going to say.
Let's get back.
He got to get rid of Sprint. He got to get Verizon or something.
No, he's out in the country. He's not even in the country.
There he is.
I'm sorry. I have a strong reception here with you guys. I never lost you guys. But the hardest part with my daughters is we want the best for them. And we want them to make the right decision, and the pathway that they're going to live is going to be their pathway. Our parents and our families were telling, don't do this or don't do that. We did it anyway. But if we can take a minute or a split second to say, well, my dad told me about this, and I can make it a different, look at it in a different perspective or a different way, then that's all that we can ask for. I don't want them to be reactionary. I want them to be able to think about what they're going to do and how they're going to react. And my daughters they're complete opposites as well. And just like Brother Brian said, the way that we love on them, I have to love on them different. And I had to learn that. And I thought it was like one type of love, but my daughters are different. My sons are different. So a good parent has to be able to facilitate and to be able to relate to each personality and deal with that personality and deal with the mindset of that personality that they're trying. And I don't want to dominate, but I really truly believe that I have a strong relationship with my daughters. I know they don't tell me everything, but we talk a lot. And we have, when they turn 13, just when they hit into womanhood, we had real conversations. There was no birds and the bees. We had, this is what sex is. Using a condom is great, but friction and lubricate. Like, we had real conversations, and I've done that with all my children because I want them to know, and they can have somebody to talk to, and like they're going to be fearful to talk to dad about certain things. That's why they have a mother as well, and they have aunts and they have uncles. So I always tell my daughters and my sons is that if there's anything going on in your life that you want to get, like I didn't know anything about college. The first person I called was Brian. I went to the military, I'm from the street. So I called Brian and my son talked to him and they just did it individually. But I told him there's always somebody that I know that can, in any situation that you're in. And there's nothing that our children, all of us, all the mothers that are here, all the fathers, there's nothing that our children have gone through that we haven't done or witnessed or been a part of. So it's nothing new. It's nothing new. Just, life is just a revolving wheel. So that aspect is very, very important for me, just to be very transparent and have that door open for them to say, hey, Dad. And that's all I ask for.
Awesome, Kenny. Thank you.
So we were going to ask, you kind of already answered it, though. I was going to read the two statements that the woman wrote and then get your feedback on it. But I think we already got your feedback. But I'm still going to read the statements just so people can hear them. And it says, everyone has heard of this type of father-daughter relationship, the daddy's girl. If you are dating a daddy's girl, you aren't ever going to live up to the standards that she has about how you should love her or what she deserves. And we heard that in the conversation. And the other one is, daddy's girls are spoiled brats who get whatever they desire by doing nothing more than smiling. And we was going to ask you, Gregory and Brian, knowing that this type of relationship is usually something the dad is very proud of, what are your thoughts on this, about this statement? But I think we kind of covered it all. But if anybody wanted to add any last minute tidbits to that, you're welcome to do so.
Yeah, I do. I like pampering. I like pampering my daughters. I like making sure that they understand that there is a beauty to being sensual and to being lovely. I think I want to help them enhance their beauty. I want to help them bring it out and understand that it's all right to be soft and nurturing and loving. What I also wanted to say is that I think it's very important for us as dad too, not only to talk about sex, but to teach our children what is sexy, what is cool. Sexy to me is paying your cell phone bill on time. Sexy to me is knowing how to iron your pants and keeping your pants above your butt.
Yes, thank you.
Sexy to me is when he meets me and he meets a member of my family. He meets them with yes, ma'am, and yes, sir. How are you? How do you do? And not just well, what you want to do in the future. He actually have a plan of what he wants to do, and he actually has a job, be it paper route or whatever it is right now. I think we have to, as fathers, we have to determine and learn how to shape our children's culture. As far as I know, it's only so much we can do, but show them what is important and what is vital. Important, what sexy is to you should be somebody you think that's going to be able to pay a mortgage. Somebody you think is going to be able to pay rent. Green eyes and light skin is beautiful. That's what you think it is. But what's sexier than green eyes, was better than this being a brother that's beige alabaster, is somebody that can pay a car note and help you with help you meet your note. Whatever your note is, y'all can meet together. Understand that it ain't got to be certain types of love, but you got to see yourself in the future. Is this a good agreement? Can I see myself with this person 20, 30, 40 years in a row? Do I want my children to be fathered by this person? Yeah. Do you think you can have a future with them? Other than this, the spectacularness of now, with the hazel eyes and he pimp like this and he got this gold chain. What about what's going on down the road? He got a jump shot, that's good, but what's he gonna do in 10 years? We got to shape the culture and what's gonna be cool in 10 years when you keep them lights on and then y'all talking about building a bigger house.
Yeah, what's cool when the jump shot fades.
yeah.
All right.
I love it.
Those are some excellent comments from all of you all. Thank you so much.
Yes.
So we just want to be transparent. Kenny S. let us know that he has dinner reservations. He's in Punta Cana and he's leaving his room, walking to the dinner. Yeah, so he got that mask on because he's leaving his room, and we're glad you're still with us. So we're going to just keep it moving. We're coming close to the end, but I'm going to read another of Julie Keaton's statement. She states, the critical dad. The daughter of a critical man is fearful and anxious all the time, never being able to do anything right. She will seek to do everything, and she is hypersensitive to any criticism that anyone puts on her. Constantly trying to win the love of a man who pointed out all of her downfalls, she will likely have a very low self-esteem and never believe that she is good enough. Gregory, I'm going to go to you. I'm going to ask you, what do you do to prevent your oak tree daughter from feeling critical?
Oh, that's a good question. And at this point, I'm in the middle of that mess where I feel like there's a lot I can say and do, but I have to be very delicate in trying to get through to her. I've got Roxanne's book about relationships that I'm hesitant to give to her because she might not read it, but I want to give it to her sister, maybe her sister, and her own sister kind of standoffish with her about this relationship. So I don't have no specific answer right now, and it's a challenge. And I do understand, as far as I'm concerned, that her self-esteem is low. And if you don't believe in yourself, you don't need a man to tell you that. And that's a big part of the strength of any woman, is what she feels about herself. And she doesn't need someone outside of her to tell her who she is if she already knows. And that's what she has to grow at. So even though I'm still her father, I'm like I said, I'm on the sidelines right now with that one. I'll be there to pick her up and dust her off and do whatever I have to do. Now my other daughter, she's the whiskey. She's talked to me about things. If she wants to deal with a guy on a sexual level, she'll come straight up with it. This is what we're doing. This is what we ain't. Mm-hmm. I ain't trying to look for no man. If but I can't get the other one to even see that. So
One thing that you really said, Gregory, though, you said two things. I'm being sensitive to this issue, and I think that's really good to come against being critical. You said you're being sensitive, so that really leans away from being critical. And the other thing you have said consistently during our time right now is, I'm going to be there no matter what. I think those are beautiful compliments to get, and I don't mean like those are very complimentary styles for being there for your daughter. So yeah.
that's all I have. I mean, despite the fact that they might not agree with me or listen to me, I still have to be there in some capacity to guide and teach and show and direct. And the other gentleman was very clear on that type of stuff. And when I look back, maybe I didn't do exactly that in the beginning, but I'm not going to worry about that now because that's past me. I got to be prepared for what's in front of me and what may happen and how I can help her out of the situation or help her stand up and be herself. And the one thing I have is the grandbaby, and I make sure she's involved in everybody in this family. That's why we have the standing hair appointment. My mother pays for the bill. I'm the driver, and my sister is the entertainer when we go to her house, and like they're at her house now.
Okay.
We don't take her home till 8 or 9 o'clock when she's run out of steam and there ain't nothing else to do but go to sleep. So
And I appreciate you.
Keeping her connected to family. So
I appreciate them because this was their bonding day, and he's taken out a little time to be with us. So thank you again for that.
appreciate you.
Yeah. So are we next? Is it my turn now, Ron?
So,
You want to read the best friend one?
Okay, no. Yep, go ahead, Kenny.
So I do athletic training, and so I see this a lot. I have a lot of parents who come in with their kids, and they've never missed a jump shot. They've never lost a game. They've never missed a layup. And the poor kid is here like, man, like I can't do anything right. And so I see this all the time. And so I'm able to use that, because I have to use different coaching styles and different methods with different people when you train them. That's the only way you get the most out of them. Some kids, you got to tell them they're the greatest, and then they can run through a wall and they'll think that they can run through a wall. Other kids, you got to say, let me point some things out that we got to work on, and they work just that much harder to fix it. And it's the same thing with a relationship with your kids, is that you want to point some things out, but parenting styles change. And so you don't want to be the parent who I never had a bad relationship. I had bad relationship. Actually, the bad relationship is why I have such a great relationship now. And so you have to point that out to them and say, listen, you're gonna have a bad relationship. You chose this person, and you were able to figure out why this wasn't the right person for you. And you got to thank God that that's what happened. And so, yeah, their self-esteem might drop, but that's what a daddy's there for, to say, listen, that doesn't mean anything. I love you, and you still sexy. I'm gonna pay your car note. I'm gonna pay your car note, Brian. I ain't paying your car note. I ain't doing it.
So the other style Roxanne's going to talk about is the father who tries to be her best friend.
Oh no, I thought I was down here to the role model piece. What's going on now?
Okay, that's okay. I'll do the best friend. I'll do it in summary because it's pretty long. So I'll just how about I just summarize it?
Okay.
The other statement Julie Keating made was that there's fathers who try to be a best friend to their daughter. So it says that that is a great situation for you, but when she's dating, Julie Keating is saying, when this daughter is dating someone, it's a really great situation because that daughter understands that no one is perfect. Just what Kenny W. was just saying. Some parents have kids thinking you can do anything and everything. You can run through the wall. Just go, you can do whatever, no matter what. So Julie Keating is talking about that when you have someone who understands, you're going to make mistakes. You can't really run through the wall. It's a brick wall. You're not going to get through the brick wall. You have to find ways to go over, around, and under the brick wall. You're not going through the brick wall. But however, it's saying the daughter who was raised with a father who was like a best friend to her, then she grows up and she's able to understand that you're going to make mistakes and that's going to be okay. It's reassuring her that her dad says, it's reassuring her that things that her dad has taught her has been beneficial. It's like a balance. I'm kind of paraphrasing her statement, but what I get from her statement is that this father is able to give their child a balance. However, she does say that it's difficult for this daughter to bring her partner home and say, Dad, this is my sweetheart, this is my partner, and for dad to be accepting. I know a lot of fathers who say, well, especially dads oftentimes who have little girls, like Gregory's granddaughter, 3 years old. But a lot of fathers say, well, she's not going to date until she's 40 years old. Ha ha. Ha ha. We know that's not happening, right? So this statement is talking about, however, her being able to bring her partner on to you and find acceptance and assurance from dad that it's okay. So not really looking for a response on that one. So I'm going to just move it on by turning it over to Roxanne. Go on, Roxanne.
Yeah, so I think we're really coming to it close to the end now. So this question is about role modeling, and we want to know, how do you role model? You kind of answered this throughout the conversation as well, but the question is, how do you role model the type of man or partner that you desire for your daughter or daughters? And I want to add, jump in. Anybody can jump in. We want all of you to answer that one if you could. But even though you've kind of already done it, but if you want to add anything to what you've already said.
I think unfortunately sometimes some of us men, I know I didn't have like I didn't have a father just there. I had a lot of role models, I had a lot of family members, this, that, and the other. And so what I saw often was stuff on TV and what I learned out in the streets. But, oftentimes my mother was able to put me in a mix of, people who were married or family members who were married and go visit them and spend some time with them. So I learned some things. But what I learned most for my children is that I try to take my children to the best restaurants, because if I take them, then you know the difference between Ruth Chris, and McDonald's. I'm not saying that, and I say it like this. I'm not saying that the gentleman at 17 years old, 20 years old, this, that, and the other, got to take you to Ruth Chris and this, that, and the other. But I'm telling you, I'm taking you to the mountaintop so you know what it looked like. And
right.
You also know what McDonald's looked like, all right? So, and you need to hover somewhere in between and keep on teetering up as you get older. But I think it's good and I showed, even though I'm a male, I'm like, you want to wear this type of dress. Your pants need to fit this type of way. And it's hard for me because when you say, I'm going to say this, and I may be wrong in this, I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't really want to be my daughter's friend. I want to be her father. That's the only title we share with God. God is our father and I'm their father on earth. And I don't mind sharing that title, but I don't really care about being friends. I feel about teaching her, educating her, showing her where she needs to go, what she needs to do. And also when she fails or something wrong, she can come and hold me and I'll hold her and I'll hug her and I'll pick her up. Great Chinese parable says, you fall down 6 times, you get up 7. That's when I want to keep pushing towards my kids. Unfortunate part about me, I hate to keep on harping on it, is that my wife did pass away. But one good thing a therapist told me was you can't be the best mother and father to your children right now because your wife is gone. But you can be the best father you can be to them. And that's what I am. And that's what I try to do. I try to be the best father I can be, 100%. But I can't do the other stuff, so I had to get up supplements to get in other places. But I'm not too worried about friendships, this, that, and the other. They come to me with things, and I talk to them about things, this, that, and the other. But I really strive to be that rock and also to be the comforter when I need to be comforter, but to be their father. The total package of the father is what I really try to role model and be. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take up too much time.
Oh, no, you're fine.
All
You're
right.
fine.
All right.
We have a lot of music, but I will say, I'm going to piggyback off of what Brent just said. Hey, ditto.
Okay, that works. Anybody else before we wrap this up? We got one more thing.
I just believe, being a friend to your kids of any gender is not healthy. it sends a mixed messages at times of for the process of teaching and learning. It might work for some. I just don't agree with it myself in terms of being their friend. And I've seen it happen like within my family and a sister who's been a friend to her daughter and what happened. So it's like, nah, you're the parent. You have to be sometimes that totalitarian type personality to let them know, but at the same time be loving and giving at the same time. So it's a balance, as the man was saying, between parenting and relationship with the daughter, you know, because they feed off of that in a way that helps them in their own relationship. Being open, being honest, being truthful. And if you can't meet those needs, then why bother? You'll be forever scorned and angry, you know? So that's my take on it.
Well, I truly have enjoyed listening to you gentlemen. And before we end, I'd like to know if any of you have any products or services you'd like to promote, or give us any social media handles so people can reach you for whatever reason. Too bad, Kenny, you're in, where you at, Ohio? 'Cause I need to get...
That's funny. I was going to say, Roxanne, this is our first global podcast that we did. We got Kenny W. coming from Cleveland, Ohio. Kenny S. on vacation in Punta Cana. Brian Smith is in Houston, and Gravy is holding down in Pittsburgh, PA. So this
Alrighty
is
now.
a global podcast.
Worldwide.
Yeah. And I was going to say, I wish Kenny was here, because when you got this exercise thing, I got to get rid of this Corona belly.
I travel. I'm a travel. I travel. I can catch a jet out of Akron.
So there ain't no excuse. Do you have an
limited.
online program by chance? Have you doing anything virtually? Got any virtual classes yet?
Well, no, the virtual's over right now because the COVID's over. You know, we taking the mask off. We're back in the gym. We're at full capacity right now.
But if you do it virtually, you'd be even more full.
Okay. We're gonna talk after the show.
Yeah. Make you some money, honey. We're playing.
I'll share real quick so I can finish up for the evening. But I do work. I've been working with Family Resources for 10 years, going on 10 years in November. I have a personal catering business called Savor the Flavor. We can be reached at 412-726-0388. Currently, we are on social media site on Facebook, and we'll be working on the web page. And also, I have a cigar brand called Savor the Smoke, which we are actually on social media on Facebook. We're working on the stage right now. We just started the Savor the Smoke probably about 3 months ago. And I have 3 other individuals that are co-owners with me. So those are the 2 personal businesses that I have, and I still work a 9 to 5. I have 3 grandchildren, 4 children. I have a relationship myself, and tomorrow's my birthday. I'll be 50
now. Hey.
Happy birthday.
My girlfriend brought me down here to Punta Cana and celebrate my 51st, and it's no greater way to talk about one of the things that I really enjoy is being a father, and sharing, my thoughts and my mindset, especially with the brothers that are on with me tonight. I'm just grateful and honored that God blessed me with 4 beautiful children, 3 grandchildren, and a plethora of family and friends, man, that have all chipped in and helped me be a better father and a better parent overall, man. So I truly appreciate the works that God has done with me. He has taken me a long way, and I have a long way to go. And I will say this, I have diabetes, man, and one of the things that none of the Strother men in my family have lived past 75. I used to always say, 3/4 of my life is over. Now that I have my, and I'm watching my children grow, I want to be there for them. So I'm taking my health more seriously. And I want to say that to all Black men, specifically Black men. is that we have to take our health. Brother Kenny is a good guy, man. I need some help with this stomach, baby.
Let's
I
go.
gotta get this stomach down. I done seen Brother Brian, man. He done lost 50 pounds. And I'm sitting out here on this beach looking like DJ Khaled, man. Gotta get the stomach down, baby. So really appreciate, everyone. Thank you, Miss Roxanne, Rhonda, for providing me with this opportunity just to share, my story with you guys. Thank you so much, and you guys have a blessed evening.
Thank
You enjoy your
Thank you.
vacation and happy birthday.
Have a good
Yay.
time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, that's wonderful. Okay, so like I said, we're about to wrap up. So no more social handles, Kenny. Yeah.
Yeah, the combination challenge. You can hit me at the combination challenge, Cleveland, Ohio. I still have my Pittsburgh number, 412-448-8688. I'm never giving that up. So I'm close. I'm an hour and 45 minutes away. If you want to work, I'm there for you.
What was that number again?
412-448-8688.
And what's the challenge? Explain the challenge.
So it's cardio boxing. So a lot of times you'll see boxing, but people don't use the gloves. And so we use the gloves and mitts as a tool of fitness. So you have like title boxing. We changed it all the way around. You got 12-week program where you can lose a ton of weight in 12 weeks. You learn these cool little combinations, and you get a video when it's all over and done with. So
You got to get online, man. You about to go global. Quit playing.
yeah, we're gonna blow it up. We're gonna blow it up. Now that I'm on this podcast, it's over. Like me, it's over.
Wow. So okay, so team.
I want to thank y'all too. I really want to thank you for being. It feels good to my heart that you guys asked me to be on here. I really want to thank you guys. Love you.
It feels good to my heart that you guys agreed to do it, and I'm just really, truly. I'm like, we got some great dads on this panel tonight. I'm just loving this.
Yes.
I
I thank you for saying yes immediately. So when I called, it was like, yes, I'll do it. So really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, Brian, I cut you off.
No, that's all right. I understand my social handle. I have a nonprofit program called Dominion Solution, where we help kids create a vision of a successful career. So help them, if they want to go to college, they want to go to vocational school, they want to build a business, and it's called Dominion Solutions. www.dominionsolution.com. We are creating a virtual program so you can do it in your school system, your youth programs, or your youth groups, or this, that, and the other, and you can go take a look at it, and you can also donate on the website. So go take a look at it. We should be fully ready to launch in September. So
Congratulations! I love it. I love it. Yeah, you, Mr. It's been very difficult for me to call Gregory because I've known him since I was 16 years old, and his name was T. So I have been forcing myself to say Gregory all day, and it feels so weird. But Gregory, what's your social handle media?
Unfortunately, the dinosaur that I am, the tech that I'm lacking, I haven't got to a point of being socially compliant, technically and intelligent. I'm working towards it, but I don't have anything at this point. I need help with IT. I need help with physicality. So, Mr. Winston, I'm going to call you up. If you get online with some boxing stuff, I can be at my own home shadow boxing myself. Yeah. But I need the other Kenny, whoever he was, with the IT information to help an old guy like me get through this tech stuff. I'm dead serious. Other than that, catch me on a flip whenever you can. If you just want to reach out and chit chat, my personal number is 412-420-FRIENDLY 9692. So
he's also on LinkedIn too. What's your LinkedIn name?
Well, Gregory Tolliver. I don't know how that LinkedIn thing works, but
I'll put
a few bogus things in there because that was my dream, but I haven't actually fulfilled them or complete them. But I'm there. I look at these sites sometimes to get information and learn from it and be taught by it. So, if you go to LinkedIn, Gregory Tolliver, they might pull up some.
Well, I will put everybody's information, even though it's on the video, I'm going to put it all in our show notes so that people, can have easy access to it. And I just want to thank you guys once again. I have truly enjoyed this. We went over a little bit, which we normally do. Rhonda and I, we really try to have 30-minute podcasts. I think we have one. This is our 10th episode.
Yes, we're double digits now.
Yay!
Really double digits.
Yep, and we only have one that's been 30 minutes. So it is what it is. But I just wanted to remind everybody that our podcasts are every Thursday at 5 p.m. And the last Thursday of the month, we do a live Zoom panel discussion. And if you would like to participate as a guest or a speaker, please send me an email at info@warheals.org. And that's info@WAARHEALS.org to be on our panel or be on our weekly podcast. And we'll go from there. And you can reach us at IG. My IG handle is Warheals. But the easiest way, like I said previously, is to reach us at the website, because then everything is on the website if you just can't remember that. And that's warheals.org. And we thank you all once again. And Rhonda and I would really like for you to know that
We
got your back. Thank you guys.
Thank you,
ladies.
everybody.
so
Have a
much.
good evening.
There are two things we would like you to do. Number one, enter our monthly drawing by sending your email address to info@warheals.org. Spelled out, that is info@WARHEALS.org. Put drawing in the subject line. We will notify the winner or winners via email by midnight on the last Thursday of each month. Our second request, engage with us on IG. Follow, like, and subscribe to all of our social media platforms at warheals_ on IG, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. WAARHEALS_ on IG, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. As always, we thank you for listening and see you next week.